Any serious manga or anime fans will know the name OSAMU Tezuka. He is often called the god of manga, the artist who built the manga storytelling structure through his works from the 1940s through the 1980s. Astro Boy, Blackjack, Kimba the White Lion, Phoenix, and Buddha are just a handful of the thousands of works produced across 4 decades and left an estimated 150,000 pages of manga behind, alongside animation through his studio, Mushi Production. This is the famous OSAMU Tezuka Museum located in Takarazuka in Hyogo Prefecture. The OSAMU Tezuka Manga Museum sits in Takarazuka, the town where Osamu Tezuka grew up and which he credited as a major influence on his imagination. The Takarazuka theatrical spectacle, in particular, left a visible mark on his sense of drama and character design. The museum opened in 1994 and is designed to feel like stepping straight into one of his worlds. A domed, glass-fronted building with a color scheme and playful architecture that nods to the whimsy of his art. Inside, it houses original manuscripts, sketches, letters, and rare artifacts from Osamu Tezuka's life, along with interactive exhibits where visitors can try their hand at animation and manga drawing. These are supposed to be handprints and footprints of his famous characters, like the famous Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's quite playful, since there are different shapes and sizes of not only humans, but also animals and robots. See you if you can find your favorite Osamu Tezuka character here. Getting there is easy. The museum sits just a short walk from Takarazuka Station, about 30 minutes by train from Osaka. It's open daily from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., with last entry at 4:30 p.m., and it is closed on Mondays. Admission is just 700 yen for adults, 300 yen for high schoolers, and 100 yen for elementary students. For any fan of manga or anime, it's a pilgrimage worth making. Tezuka's story begins in 1946, when at just 17 years old, he published his first professional work, Diary of Machan. The following year, New Treasure Island made him a national sensation and helped ignite manga's post-war golden age. Through the 1950s, he created some of his most beloved characters, Kimba the White Lion and Princess Knight, cementing his place as a master of children's manga. Astro Boy soon followed, and by 1963 became Japan's first nationally broadcast TV anime series. In the 1960s, Tezuka began Phoenix, an epic that would span decades, while pushing his storytelling into darker, more literary territory. In 1973, Blackjack was born, a project meant to mark 30 years in the industry. Through the 1970s and 80s, works like Buddha showed a storyteller still pushing boundaries, right up until his death in 1989, leaving behind 4 decades of work that reshaped manga and anime forever. Upstairs, on the 2nd floor, Tezuka's lifelong relationship with nature comes into focus, told here in 3 parts. The first is wonder. Long before he became a storyteller, Tezuka was a boy chasing insects through the fields around Takarazuka. That fascination never left him. It shows up again and again in his work, in creatures rendered with a naturalist's eye and a child's sense of awe. The second is warning. As Japan industrialized and the post-war world changed around him, nature grew more fragile. His later work turns that early wonder into concern, stories that confront pollution, extinction, and the cost of human progress on the natural world. Some of his masterpieces here include Blackjack, Phoenix, and Metropolis. And the third is possibility, what Tezuka called his if idea. Here, nature becomes a thought experiment. What if the natural order were different? What if animals could speak, or humans lived by nature's rules instead of their own? It's Tezuka at his most imaginative, using fiction to ask what we might learn by seeing the world from outside human eyes. There's also a library stocked with his complete works, a theater screening his animated films, and rotating special exhibitions that dig into specific series or themes from his catalogue. At the library, young readers get introduced to Osamu Tezuka's works, while adults reminisce about the works from their childhood, realizing how the genius of Tezuka had shaped part of who they are now. Let me tell you about his most famous works. First is Princess Knight. Princess Knight tells the story of a princess born with both a boy's heart and a girl's heart, forced from childhood to live disguised as a prince because the law of her kingdom does not allow a woman to inherit the throne. It is a swashbuckling fairy tale, but at its center is a deeper question about identity, about what it truly means to be a boy or a girl. Then there's Kimba the White Lion, following a young lion cub born after his father, the great king of the jungle, killed by hunters. Kimba is separated from his family as a cub and eventually finds his way back to his homeland to take up his father's throne. Sounds familiar? Yes, Disney's Lion King, named Simba, is based on this story. Out of Osamu Tezuka's respect for Disney, Tezuka's family decided not to sue Disney. The most famous is probably Astro Boy. Astro Boy begins with grief. A brilliant scientist loses his son and builds a robot boy in his image, hoping to fill the hole that loss left behind. When the robot cannot grow up the way a real child would, the scientist rejects him, and Astro Boy is sold off, eventually finding a new home with a kinder professor who accepts him for what he is, rather than what he is not. The series is really about what makes someone deserving of love and dignity. And my favorite is Blackjack, which centers on a brilliant but unlicensed surgeon who operates outside the law, performing procedures no hospital will attempt and charging enormous fees for his work. Each story examines a new moral dilemma, forcing questions about who deserves treatment, what a life is worth, and how far a doctor should go to preserve one. It is one of Tezuka's darker works, less interested in easy answers. At the basement of the Osamu Tezuka Manga Museum, there is a manga workshop. You can make a couple of drawings and run it through the animation machine to see how your drawings move if it were animated. It's a nice little introduction to how animation works, and I recommend that you try it. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos from Travel Whiskers. And if you are a fan of manga or anime, this is really a trip you should try to make once in your life.